allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Thank y'all for coming tonight. First item on the agenda is the approval of the September the 26th minutes. Any corrections, changes, questions? No? All right, if not, those will be approved as submitted. Report of the town manager, Mr. Warner.
It's that time of year for me to make the following announcement, which is some communities in Virginia choose the date, time, and other restrictions associated with Halloween trick-or-treating. The town of Bedford does not. We encourage those who choose to participate in trick-or-treating to plan ahead and exercise caution. Citizens are encouraged to use flashlights when walking on neighborhood streets and to supervise children as they go from house to house. The town also encourages those driving around the community during the evening hours on October 31st to exercise extra caution in light of potential weather-related conditions, as well as the likely presence of trick-or-treaters on or near neighborhood streets. And I'll probably repeat this at the next meeting as well. But that concludes my report.
All right. Any questions or from Mr. Warner? No? All right. Appearances before council. We have one person signed up here, Lydia Stiltner. If you would, Ms. Stiltner, come on up and give us your thought. Yes, please. And just give us your name and your address for the record there, if you would, please. And thanks.
Good evening. My name is Lydia Stiltner. I live on 2140 Shepherd Store Road in Bedford. And I'm with the group Bedford Cares, which is taking care of feral cats within the town of Bedford and also all the surrounding areas. There were some things that came out that the town of Bedford had some discussions in regards to the overpopulation of the feral cats. And it was stated that they may be harmed. And I needed to know for us and all the lovers of animals in this community what the actual plans are, and if there's anything in our power we can do to help with the overpopulation, with the trap neuter return and rabies and anything else that helps, you know. And we give the community feeders, we give them food to help with the feral cats, and we do not want them to be harmed, but we do need to know from everybody that everybody is on the same page on that. That is just a really big concern, and we really would like to know about that.
Okay.
That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right. Anybody else wish to speak? All right. Council comments? Mr. Harper?
Okay, first I want to thank everybody for coming out to the meeting. I want to thank our men and women in uniform that keep us safe every day. Thank you for everything you do. You know what? Things are going to get better. You know, there's sometimes down the road there may be challenges, but you know what? We'll make it through. We'll get things better. There's things I'd like to see done more of for you guys. One of the things I'd like to see done is a policeman's ball. I mean, hey, that'd be a good way to raise some funds for some of the stuff they need. It would also help boost morale, and it would be something fun to do. It'd be a nice dance, and we would all have a lot of fun. The other thing I also want to say is, as far as the cats go, you know, I don't want to see any cats harmed or killed. I want to see done what's best for the cats. Make sure that, hey, they're going to be safe. Make sure they're, hey, and Lydia and Bedford Cares, thank you for what you're doing. I wish there were more people like you with a big heart. You know, we can only do so much. I can only do so much. But it's people like you that make a difference. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And as long as I'm here, I'm going to fight for our furry friends.
Mr. Jansen?
Yeah, I represented the town council at the Bedford Area Educational Foundation's meeting last week, And at that meeting, the town was presented a certificate of helping with the Bedford Area Educational Foundation. That foundation does a lot to help teachers in the area with small grants to help in their classrooms, which is teachers spend an immense amount of their own personal funds on working with the kids. And, being married to a teacher, I know how much money was spent on it by her when she was teaching. But these grants go out to really to improve the classroom and help with various programs, and some of them are very innovative. But we have a nice certificate, and I'll give it to our to Bart.
And just so everybody knows too, that the grants that we fund, they're only used in schools located in the town of Bedford. So either the primary, elementary, Liberty High School, or Susie Gibson. So they're only used for our students.
Good deal.
CD,
I don't have anything.
Stacy?
Well, I got two things. First of all, I want to know what the update is on the poles that's been painted. Anybody got any comments on that, or where we at? Are they finished?
No, we're not finished because we're two people and we're working on it to get it done as best as we can. The day you were sitting in the park and you were sitting in the corner talking, you came over and helped paint, but you chose not to. So we get volunteers, we paint them. According to the weather, we have to set and wait for the weather. You can't paint with oil paint at a certain temperature. So they'll be done.
Okay, well, it'd be nice if we all would get invited to that help.
There was an invitation sent out and it called.
All right. All right, yeah, we don't need to go back and forth here. Yeah,
Comments
so,
by
yeah,
council.
this is the council comments, so we'll just leave it at that right now. Okay,
Okay,
please.
that's cool. Thank you.
Oh.
Other thing I got is, we would never do nothing to hurt any kind of animal in this town. I'm a animal lover myself, so the whole point is, I don't know where these comments or where this stuff has come from in the past, or people making comments and putting it on Facebook and spreading stuff like that, but we wouldn't do nothing to hurt any animal in this town, and any cats on top of that, because they're just like any other animal, dog, animal, deer, or whatever. The whole point is, we are friendly and we try to do what we can to protect the citizens and the animals and everybody else in the town. So we're not gonna do anything to hurt the animals, so.
I don't have any comments.
Mr. Carson?
First of all, good evening, everybody. I just want to share a little wisdom tonight. I got a call from one of my mentors today that I hadn't talked to in a while. And he wanted to know what was wrong with me, because we usually talk quite often. And so we got together and we talked. Gave him a little bit of information about what was going on. And he asked me a couple of questions. He said, "Who put you in that office?" And I said, "The people of the town of Bedford." And he said, "What is your job?" I said, "To run the town of Bedford, to help it to grow, to keep it safe for the people of the town of Bedford." He said, "Then that's what you do." He said, "That's what you do. And don't feed into the craziness." That's what I want to share with my fellow members tonight. This has to stop. It has to stop. So let's do our job. Let's focus on what we're supposed to be doing, not be distracted by all of this other nonsense. Let's do our job. And no comment. Okay? Let's don't feed into that. We have a job to do. And November the 7th, if the people of the town of Bedford think we've done our job, good. If they don't think we've done our job, then whoever else gets here, I would ask that you treat this seat with the dignity and respect that it deserves. But right now, I would ask you to no comment. Don't feed into the crazy. Let's do our job. This bickering back and forth, it's not helping Bedford. You got people outside of Bedford wondering what's going on in Bedford, people that could be potential home buyers or people that could be potentially coming in to open a business. They're not coming into a divided town, and if they want to divide, let them do it. Let us not be a part of it. We are the town council. So let's carry ourselves as the town council and don't feed into this craziness that keep coming, this misinformation. And ma'am, as far as your cats are concerned, unless I missed a meeting, I never heard nothing at all like that. The only thing we talked about was trying to get animal control where it was supposed to be. Not about hurting any animal. That would be the last thing that we would do. I don't know where you got that, but it was a straight up lie. No other word for it. But we need to stop this. And we can stop this by not feeding into it. I know it gets on your nerve. I know things get under your skin, but you know what? We got to be bigger than that, because you know what? This bickering back and forth, then we become no better than the people that's doing this. So let's focus on the town of Bedford and give the citizens what they voted us in here for.
Thank you, Mr. Carson. A couple things. You know, obviously, like everybody, I got a call early Friday morning about the incident at the cemetery. Like everybody in this community, I was shocked. I was angered. I was disappointed that there's people out there that are so heartless that they would do something like that, disrespect the dead, disrespect our history of our community. If you haven't been out there, I went out there Sunday afternoon and just couldn't believe it. I mean, these headstones have been around for 200 years, thereabouts, and represented, like I said, the history of this community. And I just want to say thank you to the Public Works, who is on the job. We're going to fix it, whatever it takes. We're going to fix it. Chief Lewis and his officers are working tirelessly, and I've got utmost confidence they'll find the people that did this, or the person that did this, and they'll see their day in court. But I want you all to know that we are committed, the staff, this council, to whatever we got to do to repair, replace, whatever we need to do to make that cemetery, get it back in the shape it should be in. So, you know, be patient with us. You know, it's not easy to investigate these types of crimes, but I rest assured, I know they're working on it very, very hard. And I know Public Works has met with people, you know, some experts in restoring these type of headstones. So, you know, as we find out more, we'll let you know, but we won't until then. So, anyway, I just wanted to say that. Ms. Stilter, you know, I had a nice conversation last week, the first time I saw the social media post about the cats. And I'll tell you and tell the public, just like I told you, I would never ever support anything like that to do harm to some innocent animals. So, you know, I had good conversations with other members of Bedford Cares last week. Saw it again today, had some further conversations again today. So, you know, if you're hearing those things, all I can ask is reach out to us first. You know, don't immediately assume the worst. You know, we'll give you an answer. You know, that's all I can ask. But, you know, that never occurred. And as long as I'm up here, I'm not going to entertain that thought. And that's all I got to say this evening. So thank you for coming in and letting us know about that. Next, report of council committees. We did have a finance committee
Yes,
meeting.
Finance Committee just met and did a general budget review. Everything, Ann doesn't seem to be too concerned about anything. Things seem to be on target. Still getting some things cleaned up, which is a good thing. We addressed the paying bills via credit card, just discussing the cost on that. It's a convenient way, obviously, for people to pay, but these card companies charge a fee, so we're trying to make a way convenient for folks, but without us having to absorb too much of the cost. So we're just discussing that, the best way to go about it. There's other localities that have done this, so I don't think we're going to need to reinvent the wheel there, but it's got to be a balance. And then the reconnect fees, we just discussed that. We have a very, very low reconnect fee at $30, so needs to be adjusted. So we're discussing that, just making the cost more appropriate to what the electric company has to do going out after hours and so forth, and the cost that we all incur as taxpayers here in the town, just to make it more equitable. So that's what we discussed, and still some things to get figured out, but fortunately it looks like we're right on target with the budget generally. A few things here and there, but it looks like we're doing pretty good.
All right, any revisions to the agenda this morning?
No, sir.
All right, so we'll go straight into the first piece of new business. This is something Bart and I have talked about a little bit. We're going to start having some of our department heads come and kind of just give an overview of what's going on in their department, kind of on a little more regular basis, try to improve, communication with you all. A little bit of it's educational, a little bit of it's just to let you, know what we're working on. We've got Chief Lewis here tonight, and hopefully the next, I think we talked about maybe Mr. Wagner coming from the electric department next and giving us kind of an overview of that. But tonight we've got Chief Lewis here, and he wanted to give us some of his thoughts on and plans for the future. So Chief Lewis, appreciate you coming, and I'll turn it over to you. Do y'all want to move down there? We got the PowerPoint here. All right. Get my glasses on.
All right, first of all, I want to thank you, Mayor and Council, for inviting me here. I want to thank Mr. Warner for his leadership with the town. And I want to thank the men and women that are behind me for all the hard work that they do. They sacrifice so much for this town, and I'm just so happy to serve those people. I wouldn't be anything, we wouldn't accomplish anything without our officers. So today what I would like to do is give you a nice summary of what the police department and what we're doing, why we're doing it. We're going to talk about some of the challenges that we're facing, and what we use as our foundation for our police department is to keep Bedford a safe place to live and visit. That's it. That's what we are driving for, and that's what our goal. And also I hear people when they come up here to say this is the best small town in the world. Well, we have to understand in order to have the best small town in the world, you have to have the best small police department in the world. That's why I'm here. I will accept nothing less than that, and hopefully we can all work together to make that and make it not just words. But I am here proudly representing the town of Bedford, and I'm happy to be here presenting for you all today. So what we're going to focus on in this presentation is we're going to talk about our department structure. Obviously, there's been some changes with that since I've been here. I will explain my philosophy in that. Recruitment and hiring, we've changed a few things with that. I think we're getting close to that 21st century hiring practices. Retention strategies, obviously, if you're pouring water in a bucket and it's got a hole in it, you're not doing anything. And that's what our goal of retention is to close that hole where we don't lose so many people. Accreditation and department excellence. That's what we are headed for, is excellence. And that's what our plan is. Investing in technology. Unfortunately, with our staffing issues, the plan has to be to have technology fill some of those gaps as far as the time it takes for us to do a job, and we'll go into those a little bit later. Our transparency initiatives, that now that we're starting to get the databases and starting to be able to send things out to the public. We are now being able to be more transparent to the public by sending some of our data out and letting the people know that a lot of things happen here in Bedford. Some of our organizational challenges, we'll go over that, and crime trends and threats. We'll also go over that, and if you have questions, just let me know, and I'll be happy to stop and answer those. So our department structure, when I arrived here, we had two divisions. After looking at employee surveys my first month, speaking to every employee in the department, and just observing for a number of months, what I observed is that we just had enough people to operate the system. There was no strategic planning, no strategic thinking, and no thinking ahead as far as the threats that we're seeing in our environment. So when that's the case, you have to divvy up the work. So we split and we made a third division. Each division is run by a commander. So now we have an operations division. That commander is over our uniform patrol, over our vehicle fleet, which we've done an excellent job with signing a contract with Enterprise where we lease our vehicles. We're now able to turn our patrol vehicles over. They're not our vehicles, so it's not like we're purchasing them. We have to have this vehicle for about 10 years. We're also able to get more vehicles, and hopefully it'll lead us to having the take-home program that we're looking for. This command is also over our department equipment. As everything else in this world, equipment's getting more expensive. Everything's getting expensive. He does our special events. Our division is the professional standards division. This person is over our internal investigations, over our firearms armory. He's over our training, over our CALIA accreditation. You know, we've had a setback with CALIA because we had an employee that left us for an agency that's paying her more money, and she's able to have benefits for her family at a cheaper cost. So we're working on that. Hopefully we can get that replaced in the next few weeks in our accreditation efforts, and we'll dig into that a little bit. And this person is also over making sure we're keeping up with our training. If we're going to be a great department, then we have to make sure that we bring the best training to our people. The third division is the new division that we created, and that's the support services division. This division houses our detective bureau. It also houses some of our critical things that we need as far as recruitment. The reason why we developed this division is now I have two people that can have eyes on recruitment is that the sergeant, actually it's three, the sergeant, lieutenant in that division, and also our community resource officer. This division is over our property and evidence, which we have some deficiencies in, and we need staffing to make that up to standards. We have a crime analysis function, which is definitely unique for a town our size, and many other bigger agencies don't have that function. So we've started that function. Our public information, and this gives us the ability to get news releases and things out to the public at a quicker time frame. And also our community outreach and parking enforcement. So let's dig into the support services. We created a community resource officer position. This is Travis Thomas. He's probably the most busy person that we have. Sometimes I believe this young man sees himself in the hallway because he's everywhere, and I think he says hi to himself sometime in the middle of the day. He is over our recruitment. One of the things that we're doing now for our recruitment is we have him who will call the people that are applying for our positions and stay in contact with them, answer any questions, sort of mentor them as they go through our process. He's our public information officer, community coordinator, and he keeps us connected with our town schools. Even though the town schools are a county function, those schools are in the town. Those parents, those kids, most of them live in the town, so this connection is vital for us. He is now over our property room, which is an extra duty because we lost an employee. So he is extremely busy, and along with those, he backfills patrol, and anytime there's an emergency care order or a temporary detention order, this young man is helping out there too. We are looking at a traffic enforcement officer. We actually have a person, we're piloting this position now. We have a person that is in this position, and their main goal is to look at all the complaints we get for traffic, and he handles the speeding and traffic to have that focus. As I go through this presentation, I will let you know that our patrol officers are inundated with calls, and we don't have the staffing to do a lot of extra things. So if you look at these positions, we're robbing Peter to pay Paul. We're pulling from somewhere to put somewhere. I liken it to having 10 squares, and I've been given 6 X's to put in those squares. So when one square gets red, I move an X and put it there. And when another square gets red, I put it somewhere else, and vice versa. So it's a moving carnival in some cases. So this position also handles all of our community complaints. He assists with patrol. If it looks like we're going to be able to make this into a permanent position, and I'll tell you how important that is and why, then that person will have accident reconstruction added to their plate also. We are a locality outside of the state police. We actually handle all of our accidents in the town, whether it's a fatality or whether it's a minor accident. We are handling our own accidents. We've added the crime analysis function. So this gives us the ability, we're shipping the water. This person is able, our goal is to have this person detect what weather's coming, where the currents are coming from as far as crime, and how to get us that information quickly and how to disseminate it to our partners just as fast. We don't have that right now. We're still developing that with this crime analysis position, but the goal is just because we live in rural Bedford, and I hear this all the time, people say, well, we're in the rural Bedford, you know, we don't have these big communication databases that you guys must have had where I came from. Well, the part is there's no big communication databases. It's all about people focusing on their job, and a crime analysis job is to pull data from systems and send that out. It's not that hard. And that's our goal now, is to make sure that our patrol officers are receiving updated information about crimes. The event that happened Friday, if we get evidence or anything like that, or we have a group of suspects, that person will be able to help put this information together, work with our partners at the Fusion Center and other areas in the state and the country, and help us bring back something. So this is a great component. Eventually they'll be presenting research findings. If they need to present that to council or to community groups, we will have that ability. But this is a great function that we have, and I want to thank Amanda, who's doing this along with her job of records. So a lot of these jobs that you see these people doing, they're doing about 5 or 6 other jobs, but they're doing that because they believe in a purpose to make things better for our town. So I do appreciate her efforts in that. One of the main things when I arrived here that I noticed that in a 4-month span, we were only getting 1 or 2 applicants in our department. So in order to have a thriving department, a diverse department, you have to focus on your recruitment and your hiring initiatives. So that's what we've done. By establishing the support service division with a lieutenant and a community resource officer, we now have some people that can look forward for us and find great people. What we were doing before is we were putting a big net in the river, and whatever fish flew through that net, that's the one that we grab. Now we're going to do a more targeted approach and pick where we want, and we're going to be more picky. What we did was we changed our policy. We developed a recruitment planning team, which consists of Woody, with our communications department, Mary Zirkle, a lieutenant, a CRO, myself. And what we did is we sat down in a meeting and said, like, marketing, what can we bring to the table that other localities may not have? Obviously, it's not pay. We don't, we're pretty low on pay. It's not our infrastructure. Definitely not our building, I can tell you that now. And it's not some of our benefits. But what we do have that's a strong benefit for us is our community. So if you saw the billboard that was on 460 just down from Walmart, you saw our slogan that we came up with, which is be the community, be together, be PD. And what that does is it brings people, because we want to be in a community that supports our law enforcement. And that's what we want to bring to our community, is people that feel supported. I came from an area that you didn't feel supported all the time. And coming here, that's what you want to do. That's what I wanted to do, is feel supported. We've got some work to do on that, but I think we're going to be able to get there, and we're going to be able to bring people here because they know that the community supports them. With this strategy, and we're just in phase 1 of phase 3, in the first few months, we've got over 25 applicants, and we've had at least 1 great certified officer join our team, being a part of that community. The great thing about that is in our next test, we have probably one of the more diverse groups, a number of females that we have, and that goes along with our initiative that we have is 30 for 30, or 30 by 30, which is a national law enforcement initiative to bring more women in law enforcement. What the 30 means is we're looking to have 30% female by 2030 in all law enforcement in the country. We've signed on to this so we can do our part to take the best practices from this and put it in the plan. And that's what we're doing now, is we're reviewing policies to make sure there's no adverse impact to any type of minority group as they try to join our department. This is one of the things that I was tasked with when I actually interviewed for this position, is people in the community wanted more females in our department, and they wanted more minorities in our department. So this is what we're doing, and this is what we're going for. Anything in this presentation that you see in the red is something that we're working on or working towards, but you'll never see me pat myself on the back because we're at the low staffing number of 24. Because by the time I reach and pat myself on the back, we've lost 1 or 2 people. So what our plan is to plan to lose 2 or 3 officers a year. The recruitment machine never stops. You can never stop it. So I'm going to recruit just as hard as when I'm at the max level of officers as if I was down 10 officers. You have to keep that going because as soon as you stop, you lose momentum. And once you lose momentum, it's tough to gain it back and catch up with everyone.
Chief, I'm curious real quick.
Yes, sir.
On that last one, you will lose 2 to 3 officers each year. Is that for various reasons, pay, some don't like what they do, or I guess it's a number of different reasons?
Yes, sir. There's a number of different reasons. Like this year, we've actually lost more than that. Some to retirement, some to having to go work elsewhere, and some to leaving to neighboring departments and going there. So I think we've lost probably 3 or 4 officers this year. And if you look normally in most police departments, especially our size, you're probably going to lose, unfortunately, 2 to 3 officers. Either retirement, it could be injury, health, it can be anything. So
It's pretty ongoing.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much a wave. It's never something straight where you can say, hey, we're fully staffed. Hey.
Yeah.
It's a wave, so it goes up and down.
Good deal. Thank you.
Now, the biggest part of this recruitment, we can recruit all the people in the world, but if they're going out the back door every time we get them in, then we're not doing ourselves any favors. So what we've done is we are focusing also on retention. And you guys are going to love this one. I'm not being a car salesman, but the incentive-based model really doesn't cost us any money. Now, there's going to be recommendations that may cost us some money, but this one, the only thing it costs us is us putting our employees first. Us bringing them into Bedford, making them feel like it's a family. And I call it the incentive-based model. What we've done is in March, we will do our annual awards banquet. And what that does is gives us an opportunity as a family to sit down and show and appreciate the officers that went above and beyond duties and give them their awards that are due to them. Also, invite the families there and us laugh, take pictures together. So this is a great benefit that we put in for our officers to keep them going out there on some of these tough days. We've also implemented a safe driving awards program. This is a great program because we're taking priority, we're making it a priority to make sure our men and women will go home safely and not have a crash in their career here. So we're investing in that, and it also is going to save us money from paying insurance claims from vehicle accidents. So it's in 3-year increments. Your first 3 years, you'll get 4 hours of leave if you have no at-fault crashes. We've had an officer that's been here 20 plus years, and if you make it 20 plus years without a crash, you can get up to 24 hours annual leave that it's maxed out at. So great benefit for it, and it just keeps you going each year. You know what, if I can get closer to that 3rd year, maybe I can get some extra time off. So we're trying to incentivize as many things as we can to keep people going. Also, we've changed call identifiers, like my identifier is PD1. So what we've done is, if you start as an officer, you're going to be like PD, you're going to be in the 30s. If you move to a police officer first class, you'll be in the 20s. If you move to an NPO, you'll be in the 17, or if you get promoted to a corporal, you'll be like like 10. So what we're doing is every step that you take, every time that you get a raise, we're going to give you another reward by giving you a lower number. It may not sound much to a lot of people, but I guarantee you to some of those people it sounds like a lot, and it means something to them. Even something as small as when you're promoted to a corporal, as we're getting our new vehicles from Enterprise, that corporal vehicles will look different from other vehicles. So that's saying, hey, congratulations, you're a corporal, you made it to this phase. And that's our goal to keep things going. We also have a department awards committee that we try to meet once or twice. The funny thing about this committee is we've had everyone that's been assigned to this committee, other than my 2 sergeants, are gone. So I'm scared to put anyone else on this committee because it seems like they keep leaving. So, but we try to meet with that committee a couple times a year. Internal employee mobility. For a small agency, our Achilles heel is lateral movement for our officers. We can't offer all the lateral movement as some of the big departments, but we can be creative. What we've done is we've added the community resource officer position because before I got here, either you can be an officer or you can be a detective. And I will tell you, not many officers want to be a detective, or can they be a detective? So that's not a great career path to say you can be a patrol officer or a detective. You're going to lose somebody somewhere who wants to do something more. So we had a community resource officer position, which is a 3 to 4 year rotation. We're piloting a traffic enforcement officer position, which will be the same 3 to 4 year rotation. And when I arrived here, we didn't have anyone on the task force. Now we have an officer that's on one of the drug task forces in this area that's helping us now. So we just have to be creative, and if we can get our staffing more up, we can handle this problem as a small agency. So as we work together in the next year, we have a plan if we can move things forward with staffing. Sergeants is an interesting assignment because it's great to be promoted to a sergeant, but it's either you're going to be a patrol sergeant or detective sergeant. If we can get our numbers up a bit, then we can make it where sergeants can do other tasks like work with the traffic enforcement officer and put some more brain power towards how to keep our community safe and as far as traffic and things like that. So there's a lot of ideas we can do if we work together. It's not going to cost us a lot of money. It just costs us some creative us to be mentally creative. Also for my command staff, every 3 years they're going to rotate to different assignments. And the biggest reason for that is you don't want anyone to be in one assignment too long because they get mentally stale. My biggest thing as a leader is knowledge is wisdom, and the only way you get to that knowledge is to have different experience and training. Another retention strategy is a vibrant wellness program, and I put the word vibrant there because all of our employees deserve us to take care of them. Every employee we have is like investing in a 30-year house mortgage, which most of us have done. Okay, when you buy a house, you don't not do repairs on that house, or you don't, it's just like a car, you take it to get service. You don't buy a house and not give them maintenance. Even though you still have to pay that monthly payment, you still have to pay monthly maintenance fees. Now look at our employees that way. We have what's in black, we have a town chaplain program, a town clinic, we have EAP. One thing about EAP is most people, and I've experienced this before, that you talk to that are EAP, they are not used to talking about the things that law enforcement and public safety professionals and military professionals see. I've had people look at me like I had 5 horns coming out of my head from the things I was telling them. So one of the things that we're developing now is we've had 5 volunteers that we're developing a peer support program where we have 5 employees that'll be peer support specialists. And what that does, it connects us with the peer support counselors who are known to work with police officers, and also the doctors or psychologists who work with police officers. Our goal is to have an accredited peer support team, and we're getting that, getting very close. Another one that I'm very passionate about, and I'm working with Beth, who's over our HR, is annual employee physicals. This is the ultimate in checkups, okay? You get an officer that's been here fresh out of college at 21, they're most likely not going to have high blood pressure. I guarantee you, as they get into their 30s, they're going to have high blood pressure because of this career. If we, as a town, are not checking for that, we're doing our officers a disservice. When I was in Lynchburg, they caught a very life-threatening disease by my physical. And I spoke to my doctor about that, and one thing that we can do that doctors can is, if I go to my doctor and I say, hey, could you check my blood for this? Well, the insurance company is going to tell him no because he has no issues with that. He says the biggest benefit you can have is to have an employee physical because we can check for anything that we need to check or that we deem as necessary. So this is something that we're working with the town. This is going to be a little bit of extra cost, but in order to make sure that our officers are going to make that 30 investment for us, we have to invest in our officers and keep that maintenance up. And at the bottom, you see VR technology. We're working now with a company that I just spoke to, and I call it use other people's money. They're a new company. They want to get into a law enforcement range. So what VR technology allows an officer to do is has a headset. He can put the headset on. He can speak to a health professional from his house. Doesn't have to leave, and that health professional can help that officer while he's at home, instead of that officer having to leave and go somewhere. So we're looking at that type of technology. The pilot part will not cost us anything, so we're using other people's money to do that. Another retention strategies, as you can see, we have a lot of these because this is the main focus, is employee professional development. We've developed a training matrix. So Department of Criminal Justice says every 2 years we have to get 40 hours of mandatory training. And I pretty much say in our department, yeah, you've got that 40 hours, but in order to move up in our department, each year you're going to have to complete mandated training from our department. And some of those categories are tactics, investigation, communication skills, officer wellness, and leadership. Now, this is not mandatory, but if you want to get your next promotion or you want to get your next classification, you have to do this. Now, you cannot do this for your entire career, but you'll just be a police officer. So when I say that we're looking for officers who are seeking knowledge and we're looking for recruits that are seeking knowledge, that's what we mean, and that's what we have here. We've added the police officer level, police officer first class, and MPO. We are encouraging strongly college degrees. We're currently developing an honor guard where now we'll have pride in our uniforms. And that's one thing I noticed that in our station that as we remodel is there's nothing with our badge there. There's nothing with our patch there. And that's what you're going to start seeing around all of our facilities is having pride in this uniform, in this badge, and what we do as a town of Bedford. So we're working on that right now. And, you know, we encourage employees to pursue professional certifications and professional associations. Leadership is the key component. When I arrived here, I did see that as a deficiency. And what we've done is we've been able to, I think, push the envelope on that. We now have a person that comes in and he does an assessment center for anyone that wants to be a supervisor. The last one we had for lieutenant, it's an all-day event. Prior to this, people have to read books, they have to study, and when they come in for that 8-hour day, they're going to be challenged. And my goal is to try to push them to their limit. And we have a sergeant exam that's coming up next month with this same type of process. So the goal is for us to have a succession plan inside the department. If I need a sergeant, I want to be able to pick a sergeant in the town of Bedford Police Department. If I need a lieutenant, if I need a captain, I want to be able to pick one in the town of Bedford Police Department. And if you guys need a police chief, I want you to pick one in the town of Bedford Police Department. So we're going to build up our talent level where if we're missing a piece, then we have a plug-and-play system, and that's what we're working for now, is succession planning. I think if you're not a department and you're not planning for that, then you're doing your citizens a disfavor. Mandatory completion of executive level training. Our staff, our executive staff, they have to do at least one of these classes a year. We do onboarding for all of our new supervisors, 24 hours, and we have quarterly internal supervisor training sessions. Accreditation and department excellence. We're in year 3 of our CALIA. So what that means is when you get CALIA that first year, you just have to show them that you have some policies that meet their criteria. As you get closer to year 4, you have to prove and walk the walk and talk the talk. We're seeing some deficiency there. So at this point, what we were seeing is we have certain infrastructure that we have to put in place because at year 4, if we don't have these things that match our policies, then we don't pass. And the convention is next year in Florida. And once I get in front of people and they're asking me questions, I have to be able to answer these questions or we do not pass. So the money that we put into our national accreditation is not going to be there. I will say we will pass, but we're not going to pass, but we're going to have a lot of challenges.
Chief?
Yes, sir.
What is CALIA again, just so everybody can know? C-A-L-E-A, what does it stand for?
CALIA is the, oh my goodness, this is that's my brain. I'll get back
Something
with
of
you.
law enforcement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get back with you. A law enforcement agency. but-
Certification agency for,
Yeah.
Law enforcement,
Association
okay.
for Law Enforcement Agencies, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just,
It's the national.
Yeah.
okay,
National
certifying agency, okay.
Yeah, National Certifying Agency. I've called it CALIA so much, I really don't think of it as
Okay.
the acronym, sorry about that. So the goal is to pass that. As I said before, we lost our CALIA officer, so we're gonna have to train a new one. The one that I'm hoping that we can get, I think we're gonna be able to get her, and she's gonna be, hit the ground running. We also are part of the International Association of Police Chiefs Pledge Campaign, which makes sure that our policies have policies with bias-free policing, use of force. You'll start seeing in the next few months that some of our use of force policy will be released on our website because that's what they recommend and that's what they say we have to do. Leadership culture, policies and recruitment, retention, victim services, and in community relations. Training and equipment. Our focus is on making sure that we're dealing with policies, not customs and practices, and trying to do the best practices out there. A lot of this does not cost any money, but I guarantee you if we veer away from either of these two, it's going to cost us a lot of money because we're going to open ourselves up to liability and lawsuits. So we have to make sure that we can solidify these things in order to stay away from liability and lawsuits. So we're still working to get there. As an organization changing the culture, as we all know, it can be hard, but we're working that way. Also to help officers train, that they don't have to go outside of a department, we are developing our training databases where they can be at the station and do training online. Leadership development, we're requiring our officers, our sergeants and supervisors to take our FBI classes. We have a sergeant going to the Forensic Academy in January. He'll be gone for 3 months. And our officers are taking the Virginia Chiefs Association Executive Leadership School. One of the challenges that we have is our equipment has been outdated for a while, so we're trying to reinvest in the equipment, and we're using a lot of grant money to do that. Up to this point, we're using about $185,000 of grant money. We're replacing things such as our MDTs. We've used it for our tasers. We've used it for some of the other technologies such as shields and our vehicles. What we're working on now is having an active replacement cycle, which will prevent us from getting into this circumstance again. But again, we have to have the staffing to put all this information in the system, and that's what we're struggling with right now. We're hoping as we get our VIPS program moving forward, we can have some volunteers help us with that. But again, the person that was running our VIPS program left, so we're in reboot on that one. Our investment in technology, since I've been here, we've added an administrative management system. This is the system that all of our communications go into. It's called SmartForce. Our internal affairs complaints go there. Our training, our inventory management, that'll be housed here. Our field training program, our department calendar. Anytime a citizen complains, we have it in there where an officer at roll call can look and see where the complaint is, and then he can mark out that he's been there and let us know the hours that we're doing there. Also, hopefully in the future, SmartForce will be compatible with our CAD system. Our record system is extremely outdated. We're still waiting on that Motorola P1 to come since I've been here to get our RMS, records management system, and computer-aided dispatch up and running. But that looks like it's going to be pushed back a little bit, so we're still fighting on that. Every time we wait, we're spending more money trying to fill some of the gaps that are being left there. The other issue with our records management system is the community wants to see our officers out there. The way our system is now is, since it was built in 1997, it's a desktop system. So our officers have to come back to the station to do a report. They can't do them out in their vehicles, which I find amazing. So the goal is, as we update our technology, we can use our time and do reports out where I want them to be, where our officers want to be, that's in the public. But right now with our system, sometimes it can take them an hour and a half. They give an arrest report and evidence along with their normal report. They could be an hour and a half in-house trying to do all this paperwork that they have to do. So hopefully we can get that fixed, but that is a great challenge that we're having right now. One of the things that we're invested in is our surveys. So every time we come in contact with a citizen on certain types of calls, they get a text message on their phone where they'll get a post-contact survey. And we do community surveys at community events where someone can scan the code with their phone. We're now piloting traffic stop surveys. One of our officers are doing that. So if someone has, they can do a survey on how did we do on a traffic stop. And we do quarterly employee surveys where the officer can grade my performance and how I'm doing. Because it sounds like I'm doing all the grading, but I need to be graded too by my peers and my officers. So they have the ability quarterly to see how the department's doing. I can check where the morale is quarterly. And if we are doing a job and we're not doing it right, we can sort of, bring that back in and move forward with it. Some of our transparency initiatives that we're doing now, we'll give you a sample with our My90 Axon looks in the next slide, what the surveys look like. But we are working on our VIPS program where we're getting people in the community to come and help us. We do monthly command staff walks. Our PACE team, which stands for Police and Community Engagement Team. This is a team that has adults and teenagers in it, two separate groups that our CROs created. We've partnered We partner with outside agencies as far as UN50, where we can have that talk about police and community interactions. We're planning pop-up visits in the neighborhood, and on the 26th of October, here in the council chambers, we'll be doing a town hall for our citizens to come and ask us all the questions that they have, and also help us with our strategic planning that we're working on now. If you look on our website, we are now releasing our weekly arrest reports, our press releases, and it'll be in the Bedford Bulletin, and it's on our website, is our monthly briefings. It gives you all the calls that we've done, not all the calls, but it gives you some of the significant calls that we have ran. It's just a small snapshot of what we've done, but I think you all, when you see it, you would be amazed at the type of things that the men and women behind me are doing out there. But that's now on our website, so if you want to go to our website, it'll be good to see. So this is what the survey that we've gotten back. So you can see we have a 91% post-contact score. The national average from this company is 83%. So our after contact with a victim or someone in our community, they're giving us a 91% score. You don't see very positive scores like that at McDonald's. So that means our officers are treating people with respect, empathy, and they're doing the best they can. 91% is amazing.
Thank you.
So I want to thank these men and women back here for the job they've done. And I will say that Amanda, who's our crime analysis, she actually puts all these phone numbers that we're sending, over thousands of them, in the system, and she sends it to My 90, and they send it out to the people because our databases aren't good enough to do it themselves. So all these contact scores are at the hand of one person, which is amazing. And that's the dedication that all of our employees here have. So this is one of the things I want to dive into. So the first one is, we've asked the community, what is your top safety concern in your community? Number one, at about 38% is drug usage and sales. This is the people that completed this survey over the course of a year. This has been consistently the number one issue that our citizens are having. Quality of life is number two, and that consists of animal control, parking, littering, and noise. And that's a close second. After that is traffic offenses. These three are where we spend most of our time. We spend most of our time doing these things, and we can't do a good enough job because of our staffing. And our citizens want these things taken care of, and we're not able to meet it up to my standards and up to these officer standards. That's where we're going to call on you guys' help to help us figure out a way to take care of the citizens' needs, which is shown in this survey here. Obviously, we had talk about animal control. Until we get someone who can focus on that problem and can plan and strategize on how to fix some of these issues we have, we're going to keep hearing random things out in the community. Second is, what would you most like Bedford PD to do to improve safety in your community? As you can see, in yellow, number one is increased patrol visibility. But as I said, if we have the staffing that we have, and I'm not going to say the number, if you get one call, which happens all the time, that person has to go and do a report. The cars that we have on the street can't be as visible as they would like because they have to be in doing reports. Some days we have ECOs and TDOs, which are temporary detention orders or emergency care orders, and we're at the hospital for hours and days. That takes away from our staffing. With the budget that was presented, we have a tight overtime budget. So as again, remember that those 10 squares and 6 X's that I have, it's tough to balance this act. The only way we can increase and have more visibility is either to pay overtime for more staffing, which we don't have the money for, or to have more officers, which we have to work for, because the citizens are wanting this. And we're doing the best we can by moving a traffic enforcement officer into these areas. But again, citizens from most of the streets are complaining in ways about us being there and being as visible as possible. Increased community engagement, I think we're doing a great job with that. And information sharing is what we're focused on now.
Chief, real quick,
Yes, sir.
on the ECO, TDA situation, we keep hearing a lot from Richmond that they're gonna fix is it making any progress or any additional funding coming from Richmond? A lot of times they'll fund, obviously, state police and sheriff's departments and really struggle to fund town and city police departments. I mean, are we seeing any movement down there, or is that something we really need, you know, VML to start, continue to push for?
Yeah, we're starting to see some funding, but again, it's like a slow-moving car at this point. We're not gonna see any changes significantly that's gonna affect us as far as our staffing and having to do this for the next number of years.
Right.
And, you know, that's if you keep the same initiative going. So, I know that Horizon has a facility that may relieve some of the stress, where we can take some of our people that will have CIT trained officers there. But these CIT trained officers right now, it looks like it's gonna have to be the organizations like us and other departments that may have to put overtime people there to run this, so. But hopefully that'll be up in the next couple of years, but yeah, right now, we're just gonna have to grind through it. Some of our organizational challenges that we've talked about, our staffing numbers are low. I know we were at 30 at one time. That's probably a great place to be. I know we lost our staffing from 30 to where we are, but that would definitely help us out. Members are responsible for numerous high critical tasks. I've been in a number of different departments, and when I got here, people told me a lie that nothing happens in Bedford. I think I heard someone joking that I would sit on a porch in a rocking chair and whittle a stick and wait for crime to happen. I can tell you now that there's probably calls waiting and no one's whittling sticks back here. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on out in our Bedford streets. And as we're gonna go through our final few slides, we are in between Roanoke, who's considered a source city of narcotics, and Lynchburg. Okay, the only way they can go from Roanoke to Lynchburg is through Bedford. Okay, so I want people to realize that on some of the dangers that our officers are facing. We're gonna dive into that in our last few slides. Obviously, pay and benefits, that's something that I know you all have been working on, and I'm thankful for the raise that you all approved. But towns that are our size, such as like Benton, even Rocky Mount, they're actually ahead of us on starting pay. Benton is actually doing a $10,000 signing bonus for qualified people, certified people, which is not good for us, and then a $2,000 signing bonus for people that would have to go through the academy. And that's the same with our other town that's equivalent to our size that's in the area. So we have some work to do. I know you guys have worked for it, but this is like a race. And in order to win the race, we've got to stay attached. So, but I thank you all for what you've done this whole year. We do appreciate it as a department, so thank you. Animal control, obviously. One of the interesting things with animal control, say if we have the staffing that we have on our streets, cats are considered a companion animal. One of our officers took a cat, and when all the veterinarian offices are closed, they have to go to Lynchburg. So they actually took a cat that was having seizures, drove it all the way to Lynchburg, leaving us staff, but that shows that we were taking care of cats, but unfortunately the cat actually died before we got there. But we take care of any of the animals, companion animals. If we get there, someone says, hey, we need this cat to go somewhere, or this dog, we take the dog or the cat. We had a person call us at 7 o'clock saying they wanted 2 of their dogs to go to the animal shelter, and they said they couldn't get it there. So eventually on some of these things, we're gonna have to pull back because we can't afford the staffing. But as far as the cats and things like that, if there's something injured, we will leave the town and go to Lynchburg. So until we can find a better way to do that, we're gonna keep doing that to get all the animals to safety. So I just wanted to say that for what we talked about earlier. The external environment, infrastructure is a big one. I'm not gonna go into that, but I know this summer, I think I found a brand new bug that I guess I have to put Clorox in the little pipe in my office. If I don't, this brown bug, that if I blew it or it killed it, it created little brown dust all over everywhere. Never seen anything like that until I was downstairs in my office. So it's a very creative place downstairs. So it creates all types of bugs, all types of everything. So, you know, and these officers, I've been to agencies that are smaller than ours. We've got to do better. I know we're trying, but even our solution that we're looking at is going to take a little time. But these men and women definitely deserve better. And we have heavy competition for our staff. One of the reasons why, if we're training them the best way we're going to train them, then other people are going to be like, okay, well, we'll get your good people. So some of our crime trends that we're seeing now, obviously we're having a huge narcotic issue that's in the town. It's been here, but that's something that our officers spend a lot of time with. We get a fair amount of DUIs in this town. That shows that our officers out there being progressive even with low staffing. call volume and types. They're tough. We're just one of these, and I hate to say these words again, but the ECO, TDO, we're just one from being wiped out with staff tonight. Legislation, we have a lot of crimes against the elderly here, domestic-related crimes and larcenies. One of the things that we're going to focus on now is these next few slides is going to show you the type of drugs that the officers are pulling off the street. Now, this is just a small sample size of the drugs we're pulling off because our databases, we're still working on those things to get better databases. But right now we're seeing a lot of meth that are coming from our town. And obviously, just think about this as an officer safety. A person that's going to exhibit violent behaviors, they're going to be paranoid and hallucinating. Now, as an officer, that's a tough sell. Now, you've got to get this person either to the hospital or you got to take them and get them and put them in jail. So, use of force rates are going up because of this type of effect, which means officers are going to be more apt to get injured. Cocaine, it's still one of the top drugs that we're getting off the street. We're getting a lot of fentanyl, which is horrible. This is the death drug, and this is one of the most addictive drugs out there. And in the last 6 months, or 6 or 7 months, our officers have saved at least 6 people this year by the administration of naloxone. And these are people that were not breathing, unresponsive when we got there, and our officers, with their training, was able to save 6 people. One's too many, but 6 people in a town like this, that's not good. But our officers are doing the best they can, and that's amazing that we were able to save that many people with the training. So again, appreciate what they did. Now this is where it gets crazy because now not only fentanyl is a drug that if you get a little sprinkle on you, you can die, but now we're finding it mixed with heroin, which is another highly addictive drug. So both of them are extremely addictive, extremely high risk for overdose, and both provide numbing pain and a feeling of euphoria. So these are the type of people that we're dealing with out in our streets right now, and that we're pulling out of vehicles that are driving down our highways, or people that have this stuff in their system. So the next one I want to show you is a drug that, a drug that many localities in Virginia don't have, and Southwest Virginia has it. And this is a beast. It's called xylazine. This drug is a drug that's pretty much an animal trank, but there's no, we can't bring you back if you overdose on this particular drug. And this drug has been found on our streets. Actually, the Fusion Center wants to do a case study on one of our cases that we found. Now, the big problem with this is not just this drug by itself. We found this drug, and it's been to the lab mixed with fentanyl, of all things. So now you get the overdose with fentanyl. So we'll go to the scene thinking it's a fentanyl overdose, and we give you the naloxone, it doesn't work, and we don't know that you're on the xylazine, and we're unable to bring that person back. And I won't say, but wait, there's more, but wait, there's more. We've also found this drug on our street mixed with heroin and fentanyl. Think about that.
Good.
So that's what we're looking at on the street. That's why we added a position on the task force, or the drug task force that's been created in the area. The most disheartening thing is that now they're pressing these drugs into pills. So we now have meth pills now because people have pill presses. So now just a swallow of a pill, you can have, one of these highly potent drugs. And these drugs have been found on our streets. And there's hundreds of miscellaneous pills that we pulled off the street that we found. So my last PowerPoint I want to show is this PowerPoint shows the dedication of our police officers. Now, you're not going to see the citizens in this video, but what this shows is what we're dealing with daily on the streets of the town of Bedford. Okay? To set this up, an officer pulled this vehicle over. This car stopped. It has a passenger in the vehicle. The officer does a passenger side driver's approach. The passenger of the car left. The officer has a right to tell that person to go back and sit down in the car, and they chose not to do it, and a brief foot pursuit ensued. The officer and the subject are struggling on the right side of the car, to my right, and The great thing that happened in this case is that the driver actually stayed in the car, and we had a citizen that you heard a officer. If any of these two people would have turned on that officer, I'm not even going to say that. So the unit number that you're going to be listening for is PD 24. Now, what I want you to think about is, as he's fighting this particular guy, his earpiece falls out. That means he has no communication, can't hear that the dispatch is talking to him. We have one heck of a dispatch communication center that keeps us connected. And you also hear sheriff's deputies that are listening to this call, and they're trying to get here as fast as they can. So what I want you to do is just put yourself in the chair of a supervisor or myself when you see this close call. And the only reason I'm showing you this is to show that we do a lot of stuff in this town. We just don't do small things. We do a lot of things in this town. So, as you can see, when the tone goes off, that's when everyone's in panic because they don't know what's happening to our officers. Our officers, when they're out on the street, they give. Giving is a strong word. These men and women give time from their families. They give time from their friends. They give their sweat. And unfortunately, all too many times in this town, they give their blood. They give their blood to keep this town safe. And I am so happy to serve here with a group of men and women that don't complain, but they're willing to give their blood. The first 2 months that I was here, I had to visit 2 officers in the hospital. First 2 months I was here. That one was injured on a pursuit and one was injured trying to handcuff people. This is an all too familiar occurrence. And I just want you guys to know that you have a force back here that are giving it their all. They're giving it their blood. They're giving it their sweat. And I just ask that as we go through our tenure in the next few years that we give them that same courtesy and we give them that same respect. But the job that these men and women are doing, second to none. I've never seen anything like it in my 28 years. So that concludes my PowerPoint. I am open for questions.
I just want to thank you and appreciate what you're doing, and to the officers, just keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And we'll do what we can.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
I want to thank you and your officers for everything you do, not just for how you're trying to help that cat and other animals. You see the cat that was having a seizure. It's unfortunate that that cat did pass on the way to the vet, but thank you for at least trying to help that cat out. That means a lot to me right there. Thank you for trying to get rid of drugs in the town of Bedford. That means a lot to me as well. If there's anything we can do for you, please let us know. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. We appreciate you. Thank you for everything each and every one of you does.
Thank you.
Chief,
Yes, sir.
I'm in contact constantly with citizens who just are amazed at what a good police force we have and the work that these folks do. Everyone that I've contacted has been more than helpful and polite, and they have a great reputation with our citizens, and you can't ask for better things than that.
Thank you. I agree with that.
I just want to say, you've done an awesome job since you come here. You've moved the police department forward to the future. You have a great group of people men and women that serve under you, and I think you're a great leader to lead them into the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I agree. We're going to do all we can to support you. I think we have so far, and, you know, it's tough. We're a small town. As far as revenue, it is tight, but we're very, very fortunate to have you all, you know, as a police force here. We need you.
Yeah, I thank you for all you do. I've had the opportunity to see some of your officers in action. I just sat back and watched them, and they were very professional. But thank you for all you do, and we appreciate it. And anything that we can do within our power, we will do. But all I ask you to do is just keep on doing the great job that you're doing, because we need you.
Thank you, sir.
Chief, and men and women of the police department, that video really doesn't even do the justice that we saw in Public Safety Committee. I mean, you just got a little piece of that, people. I saw the full video, and it hit me to the core. So, like I said, I can't say thank you enough. I know there's things we got to do to help. Chief, you've got a great plan. It's our responsibility, our community's responsibility. I mean, that's who we are. We represent this community, and I hope people learned and heard a lot tonight about what's going on. It's not the safest, sleepiest little place in the world, like you know, it has been in the past. There's a lot of dangerous stuff out there. When the chief came, the very first thing he asked me, you know, what's your biggest concern? And I said, of course, drugs. You know, it doesn't take a whole lot of time to not fight them on a day-to-day basis. And you've seen it in far southwest Virginia. I've seen it in a community where my family had property. It doesn't take long, and it will turn on you in a heartbeat. And so thank you for your diligence. Thank you for your efforts. And I'm going to be here to support you as long as I'm up here.
Appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next thing real quick, I guess, Bart, you got a budget amendment for the Shintel project?
Yes, sir. On October 3rd, 2023, the town of Bedford signed an agreement with Shintel to reimburse Bedford Electric for the purchase of 55 new wood poles at the appropriate length and specifications by Bedford Electric. The agreement states that the town will issue a purchase order within 10 days of signing the agreement. In order to account for this agreement, Town Council is requested to approve the following budget amendment, which will appropriate revenue to be received from Shintel to the expenditure account for poles. Tonight, Town Council is requested to approve the below budget amount, which will appropriate budget to the general ledger accounts listed as follows. An increase in the revenue line item entitled Recoveries and Rebates, Project Code Shintel of $100,000, and an increase in the corresponding expenditure line item identified as Poles, Project Code Shintel of $100,000.
All right, do we have a motion on the budget amendment?
So move.
Second.
Any discussion, any questions? So, the 100,000, is that just for the 55, or is that some extra too in case, because when I was reading that, I thought it might be some extra just in case Shintel did go,
There's a slight contingency built in there, but it's pretty spot on. And this is also directly related to the
broadband.
county's broadband initiative.
Project, right, so, yeah, so, all right. No, roll call?
Mr. Carson?
Aye.
Mr. Haley?
Aye.
Mr. Hartwick?
Aye.
Mr. Johansson?
Aye.
Mr. Showen?
Aye.
Mr. Stanley?
Aye.
Mayor Black?
Aye.
Motion carries with 7 ayes.
All right, anything else? Nothing further, we're adjourned.
All right.